Hey, what's up everyone? Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids. Today we're looking at this, which is the CRKT Carnifex. This is one of their latest designs coming out from Flavio Icoma. And what we'll do is we'll talk about this knife, we'll show you the knife in use, we'll show you some knives that if you like this, but maybe there's a couple tweaks you'd make, that maybe you want to check out some similar designs that are slightly different. This has been an EDC knife for me for the past, on and off, I would say month and a half, and I have enjoyed using it. But let's switch the camera angle and get up close and personal with this thing, give you some of those details, and then you can decide if this is a good option for you. Let's start off and talk about some of the details on the Carnifex. Your blade length is 3.975 inches. Your overall length is 9.063 inches, and therefore your closed length is going to be 5.098 inches. Your blade thickness, 0.148 inches, and your steel is 8CR13 MOV. Your Rockwell hardness is 58 to 60. Now, while I am in the outdoors right now, I would definitely call this an EDC knife, not an outdoors knife. You can see, just looking at the blade, that I've been using this quite a bit. It just has overall a really cool look. So let's just talk through some of the features. You've heard some of the details. It does have the flipper here. You can kind of open it with this little slot like so. Not really designed for that, but you can do that. Ultimately, the flipper is how you're going to do it. It does have the IKBS system, so it opens very smoothly. You can see on the back side there, that little circle is the IKBS system, just to let you know that it's on this knife. It does say Carnifex there. As far as your blade, you are going to have a tiny bit of recurve there, so just be aware that when you're sharpening it, that flipper does become, a guard for your hand when you're holding it. And let's close this up. You can see frame lock there, and it locks up nicely. I'd like to see this maybe go over a tiny bit more, but it's nothing I would be really concerned about. Let me close it up again and show you up close. You can see these cool kind of inlays, and the idea of the Carnifex, if you're not familiar with the concept behind it, is that the Carnifex is a prehistoric crocodile. I think it was found in North Carolina. And so you can see with this design right here, it's supposed to look like a crocodile. Same thing on the other side, and then this down the spine as well. So very similar to a lot of other Flavio Icoma designs as far as what I would call organic, kind of an earthy feel to the knife. Flip it over here, you can see there's your pocket clips, the CRKT. It does ride down nice and deep in the pocket. There is a lanyard hole. I don't use lanyards on my EDC knives in general. You can't switch that around, so it's going to be, let me show you as I close it up one more time, tip up and right hand carry for this knife. What I want to do now is I'm going to roll in some footage of the knife actually in use, so you can get a sense of what that actually, what it looked like for me as I was using it. I have used this as an EDC knife on and off, like I said, for a month and a half, and it does the job. It is definitely what I would call a good slicer. You'll see footage here of me doing a lot of different cuts. I did use it to cut some wood, which, again, normally in your everyday carry type of situation, you're probably not slicing wood or making feather sticks, but it can definitely do that, work. I was a little concerned about the tip because I thought the tip was, it looked kind of thin to me. But piercing is definitely going to do a great job, and having used it a bit, I'm no longer concerned about the tip. And I'll also show you some footage in a minute here of the tip of the Carnifex compared to the Fossil, which is another Flavio Icoma design, just so you can see what those two things actually look like compared to each other. All right, so let's compare this to a couple other knives. Let's look at first kind of a classic from Flavio Icoma, very popular seller. This is the Fossil right here, and so this is the compact version, the smaller version. There's also a full-size version as well. So you can see when you look at those two, very similar design in the two knives. Definitely what I would call an organic feel to the knives. This is the new Fossil in black, and that has the VEF serrations. This is a full-size Fossil. So going back to kind of the original Fossil, you can get it in the brown, with the brown handle, with the small blade, with the brown handle, with the large blade. You can get them both with or without the VEF serrations. So this is the new black Fossil, that black inlay with the VEF serrations. Again, very similar look to all these knives, kind of a similar feel. Organic, again, Fossil, that's something ancient. Carnifex, that's something ancient as well. I want to roll in this as well, which is the No Time Off, now at the bottom of your screen. So now we've got 4 of the Flavio Icoma designs. We also have the Civet, which is a small fixed blade made by CRKT, designed by Flavio Icoma. I don't have that knife, but I think this is pretty much all the folders that he's designed and made for them so far. So you're going to see that the Carnifex up here on the top and then the full-size Fossil, very similar in size. A little bit of a different look, but there is definitely a lot of overlap with those knives as well. So I mentioned to you I want to show you the Fossil and the Carnifex tips side by side and just give you a little close-up here. So over here is the Carnifex and this is the Fossil. And you can see I was a little concerned that, you know, the Carnifex was not going to be thick enough and strong enough, but it actually looks a little bit thicker than the new Fossil here. Let me actually show you the older Fossil, and this is the smaller one. I actually think that one has a slightly thicker tip. Got it in my pocket here. Hang on one second. Let's see, back pocket, there it is. So this, the Carnifex compared to the original Fossil, even though this is the compact model, the original Fossil actually has a little bit thicker of a tip. So this is the Fossil, this is the Carnifex, and you can see that that one is a little bit thicker. So just a heads up, you know, if you really like the design on this, but you're like, I want something that's a little bit of a thicker tip, then maybe you want to go with the original Fossil. So yeah, just want to let you know about that. All right, let's talk about who is this knife for and what would I use it for primarily. As I mentioned earlier, I don't generally consider a knife like this an outdoors knife. You could certainly carry it in your pocket, you know, if you're having a small fixed blade or a large fixed blade or some other tools while you're out there in the woods. You could use this to do tasks around camp a little bit, you know, slice some rope, maybe food prep, things like that. But I think because there's just a lot of steel on this, you know, other than these inlays, it's just straight up steel, and there's not kind of a lot of bells and whistles. When I see a knife that has a lot of steel on it, just, you know, that nice shiny silver looking steel, I think EDC. So that's my opinion on it. I do think I was a little concerned about the tip, but I do think it's going to be quite strong. I don't think you're going to have any issues with that. This to me is going to fall into that large EDC category, large folder category. This is probably not something I would use if I was wearing, you know, a suit with dress pants. I just think it's a little bit big. If it's popular, maybe they'll make a smaller version of it, which I could actually see that being more of a gentleman's knife or a gentleman's folder. But this is to me a large EDC knife that's going to be especially good at some of those slicing tasks. The 8CR13 MOV. Pluses and minuses to the steel. The biggest plus is that you're not going to pay a ton of money for the 8CR13 MOV compared to something else usually, or a lot of other steels I should say. And it's going to be relatively easy to sharpen because of the curvature of the blade. You just want to be aware of that. You know, using a rod to sharpen is going to probably be the safest way to do it. When I first saw this at SHOT Show, I was like, that's just a cool looking knife. And I really have enjoyed the Fossil as an EDC knife. And so I thought, yeah, this could be another one that I'm gonna enjoy. So I have EDC'd it. I have liked using it. It's functioned well, no issues whatsoever. And I would also say that when I've showed it to people, you know, who are knife enthusiasts or even mildly interested in knives, they're like, that is cool looking. What's the deal with that? And then when you see that kind of prehistoric look there, that crocodile looking side, and then the spine, you know, that's kind of a cool conversation piece as well. As I've been thinking and talking about knives recently, I've been kind of categorizing them as far as use in that light, medium, and then heavy use. This would definitely be easy for lightweight use, you know, just some simple cutting tasks. And I would be confident as far as a medium weight use as well. It can probably handle some heavier tasks, but I would just be cautious you know, using this overly aggressively because it does have a decent thickness, not just the tip, but the overall blade too, or the overall blade profile. But I wouldn't use this overly aggressively. That's again why it would fall into an EDC category for me. Now your price point for the Carnifex is going to be around, looks $65, maybe $68, $70. It's on pre-order at a bunch of locations right now, the time of this video, which is March 2017, but you should be able to pick this up relatively soon if you can't get it already at maybe a local retailer. So yeah, the Carnifex. Cool knife. Flavio Icoma's designs, I continue to like a lot of them. The No Time Off is a standard EDC knife for me as a utility knife that can handle a wide variety of uses, including some pretty aggressive use just because of its heftiness. I like the way he designs his knife. I actually had a chance to meet him, I think 2 years ago at SHOT Show. That was cool to talk with him. And yeah, so the Carnifex right there. There's a little close up for you. As you can see, it just kind of shines in that sunlight, even though it's kind of overcast today. So cool knife, the Carnifex by CRKT. Thanks as always for checking out the videos here on Everyday Tactical Vids. Please subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't done so already. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Check us out on Instagram and Tumblr as well. More videos coming soon. Take care.